Hello everybody, Sheldon with iHardware here. I'm going to try my best to talk over the fans from the test bench and my ceiling fan right now since they're on full speed. We should be good though, it should be picking it up all that much. If so, I'll do some editing to try to get that out. Anyways, today's video, I'm going to be doing some overclocking of the Celeron 450 as we have right there. I literally just received these in the mail right now, so I decided I could do a quick video on how I do the overclocking and let's see how far we could push this chip. And I also got four more in particular, so we can see which one out of the four, I guess, is the best overclocker. So currently right now, this one's at stock. I just want to get a baseline of what it runs at stock. It's a single core CPU and it's running at 2.2 gigahertz, and I believe it has 512 kilobytes of L2 cache. So it's not the fastest thing in the world, except for when it gets on certain parts. As you can see there, it goes pretty fast. But at the beginning there, I think this test has already been running for about like 4 or 5 minutes. So it's not the fastest thing in the world. So hopefully an overclock will get us some decent results. If you're wondering why I have hardware monitor open, I just want to check temperatures. I do know it affects your scores and stuff in Cinebench, all versions. So it's not best to have this open when I'm doing the actual full test where I do it for hardware bot for submissions and stuff like that. I'll close the hardware monitor, make sure everything's closed, such as task manager also. So just letting that run here to get a baseline. Over here we got the fans and stuff like that. Another thing I want to point out too is if you watch my previous videos, there were some crackling issues with the audio. I believe that should be fixed. If not, just bear with me. I'm going to try and get a microphone or whatever to use with this camera. So I don't know what the issue was exactly, but I tried resetting some settings on the camera, so it should be away now. But if it's still there, I'm really sorry about that, and I'll try my best to get that fixed and figured out in the next video. Anyway, so right now I have the GTX 650 Ti on the bench right now. As you can see here, again, sorry for the noise. There's two 80mm Noctuas. I pulled these out of my case when I did the case mod, so there's 120s in there now. So I had these laying around, so I put these on the bench. One's cooling the VRM and I believe Northbridge heatsink and stuff like that. The other heatsink that's back here gets direct air from that fan, goes over them and goes into this. So I flipped the cooler on like I had my other board, so it blows it this way. Then I have this fan here is blowing onto the RAM across here, and then this one is an outtake blowing out air. So decent kind of airflow sort of thing, a little bit overkill to be honest, but it does its job and stuff like that. As you can see, the Celeron's actually running at around 50 degrees Celsius, so it's a little bit hot actually, but I just applied the thermal paste, so I'm waiting for that probably to settle down and sit properly. So we'll hopefully see after the Cinebench run and when I start pumping more voltage into it, if that temperature goes any higher. Excuse the noisy chair also. CPU vCore, it says 1.2, but I have it set in the BIOS to 1.225. So yeah, it should be running. We'll see how that goes. But as for the RAM and stuff like that, I would open up CPU-Z, but I'm not going to while Cinebench runs right now. I just have two 2 gig sticks of Micron, I believe, yeah, Micron 800 megahertz memory. It's not great overclocking memory, it's pretty much OEM stuff. It only gets up to around 903 megahertz. When overclocked, anything higher it refuses to boot, so I'm limited by that right now, but I actually ordered some better RAM chips. And those will be those will be here, I believe, Monday. Right now it is Saturday, so those will be here in about 2 days or whatever. So hopefully those will help definitely in most of the overclocks and stuff like that, since I'll be able to push the RAM a little bit more. So I'm gonna let this finish, and when it finishes I'll start up the video again, give you guys an idea on what it got for the CPU score, and I'll actually also run the OpenGL test. We'll see what we get for a stock baseline. Alright, so we're back a few eternities later. So the CPU at 2.2, it says 1, I believe it's up a little bit above 2.2. Anyways, it got 35 Cinebench points. So I actually exited out of Cinebench, about to restart the system and start overclocking like usual, and I forgot to note that. So I just opened it back up here to show you guys that that's what it got at stock. Since I had hardware monitor and along with task manager open, Normally the CPU should probably be getting around 40-45 points, so between 5 and 10 points more. So keep that in mind, I guess, but that I wouldn't use that 35 as being the reference for a stock Celeron 450 CPU. Anyways, I'm gonna get it rebooted right now, so get into the BIOS or whatever and see what we can do here. Shouldn't take long, so I'm just gonna keep it on the same clip here. Okay. So what I think I'm going to do with this chip, since there's only 4 of them, I'm not going to do normal binning. With that, you normally go up to like 1.5 volts or whatever, and then try and set the front or overclock from there from 1.5. So what I usually do on when I only have a few chips or whatever, I'll start out with a front side bus of 333, make sure to put the RAM back down to 800 and keep timings the same. With the Celeron, there's no multiplier, so you can't adjust that. And I think I'll try and leave that voltage the same. I don't believe so. Actually, let's see what the multiplier is, because that might be like 4 point something gigahertz. So let's make sure it actually boots at that speed. Nope. Alright, so that multiplier is probably around 10, 11 or something like that, so it's probably trying to multiply it up to about 7 gigahertz. So restart the system. Do it to post again, and then go back and up that voltage a little bit. Okay, yep, overclock failed. So all that seems normal. So let's just try upping the voltage. I want to make sure the chip did seem like it was running a little bit hot, so I might have to redo the thermal paste, but I felt like I did it properly, so it might just be something with the sensor or whatever. It just didn't seem too accurate, even though there's just one core. So let's see what 1.3 gigahertz or 1.3 volts does. See if we can get it to post at 333 front side bus. Nope. So this multiplier must be higher than what we're expecting it, or what we're thinking it actually is. So just keep trying to raise it up here. Maybe we'll probably jump to 1.35, if not 1.4. Or I might just lower the front side bus. Actually, I think that's what I'm going to do, is try and put it back down to like 300 or something like that. If you guys have overclocked these chips at all, let me know, because it'd be cool to see what other people are getting on this. The Lions Tech Tip forum, where I usually submit these, they're not too common. In fact, I don't even think there is another Celeron 450 on there. I know there's 430s and 420s, but that's about it. So let's try lowering this down to 300. But yeah, it'd be cool to get a baseline of what people are normally getting on these CPUs. I'm expecting, I think I saw some people getting the 430s up to around 4.5 or whatever. So you can get them decently high, but seeing that they're only single cores, you don't get a lot of points for them or whatever. And then on Hardware Bot, they're not really sought after chips or whatever, so getting points and stuff like that for them are not all that great. So we'll leave that at 1.3, and then I think let's try the 300 on the front side bus. Make sure to put the RAM back to 800. We don't want 712 megahertz RAM. Okay. 3.3. Okay. So, I think we'll leave it at that. If we could get it to boot at 3.3 at 3 volt or 1.3 volts, 3 volts wouldn't be all that exciting. I don't know why I entered the BIOS there, but let's see. So, yeah. While it's booting, guys, let me know if you guys find this video interesting at all. If you guys would like to see more videos like this, I got a bunch of 775 chips I could do some overclocking videos with. I actually am expecting more, so Yeah, I could do some more videos on the 775 overclocking. I was planning on doing one with the Core 2 Quad Q9400 or whatever. Need to try and overclock that a little bit more. Most of the chips I've already overclocked, but since I got the new board, I haven't overclocked a bunch of them on that. All the ones I haven't overclocked were on the 780i at first, so it'd be nice to try and move to the P5Q or whatever E motherboard and try and see if I can get better clocks or whatever. So sorry if I'm saying a lot too. I don't know. I've tried, even if I'm making a video and I try to get out of that habit, it just seems to be common for me to say that. So so I did it right there. So I'm not going to go into the properties, but let's open up CPU ID or hardware monitor and see if we can see what the temperatures are at 1.3 volts. It shouldn't be a lot. I'm usually able to push about 1.5 volts on a good day or whatever. It is kind of hot out today since it's starting to become spring, so I'm trying to get a lot of these overclocks in right now while I can before summer and the better spring weather starts getting the best of me. So 46, so that's pretty average. I'm assuming it's something with the, maybe these chips are just hot running chips, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm gonna try and see if I can get that temperature to go down. But let's see, try running R15. So I'll start it off here. I'm not going to make you guys watch the whole entire R15 running. What I'll do is I'll usually run R15, and then if it passes at the max speed or whatever, then I'll go through and I'll run 11.5 and 2003. So not anywhere close to doing that. I want to make sure and see what we can get this CPU up to before doing something like that. So registering it at 3.3 gigahertz, good, 450. So let's start it here, make sure it doesn't blue screen or anything. Yep, and 124 means it's not getting enough voltage to the CPU. So most of the time when it blue screens, if not all the times when it blue screens or whatever, it's something with the voltage related. So sorry, this keeps going out of focus or whatever. I have it on manual focus right now and automatic focus, so fighting it and counteracting it. So I'll try upping the voltage to probably around 1.3 is my assumption is what it's going to want. 1.3, so let's do 1.325 and see if that works. Most of the times, yeah, I'll just throw it up to 1.5 volts and then keep upping the front side bus or whatever, but in this case, I'm going to try and go through the slowest possible way to overclock this, so make sure I get the finest clock. Okay. Can't think of anything else to say, but yeah, just let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this. Also, let me know if this video is like boring at all, because I feel like it might be a little bit more boring the way I'm talking and stuff like that, but I don't have that much to talk about with this overclock in general. So let me know if there's anything I can do to make the video more exciting, such as using an accent or something stupid like that. So yeah, see if Windows will boot here. I am running Windows 7 Professional. I have this version stripped. I prefer Professional over Home Premium because it doesn't come with a bunch of the software that Home Premium normally does, like Movie Maker, I believe, and stuff like that. So it's usually a more stripped operating system from the start, but I'll put it to performance mode and strip it down as much as possible, such as this installation right now. So let's go back and try and run R15. These CPUs, even if overclocked like 3.3 like it is now, you can definitely notice, even just from the start, before even running the benchmarks or whatever, that it's a lot snappier or whatever. So 2.2 gigahertz on a Celeron single core, and it wants more voltage still. Okay, this chip isn't being all that nice or all that great of an overclocker. Try and get into the BIOS here or whatever. So I'm going to just try and find a good voltage or whatever, and I'll resume the video back once R15 is running stable or whatever, and we can get it through that. So I'll be back in a jiffy. Okay, so I got the second try or whatever. Actually, right after ending the video, I went into the BIOS and did 1.35 volts or whatever, and that seems to be working fine right now. So it's running Cinebench right now. Can't really tell if it's going faster or not. It probably is. I think last time when it was at stock, it was probably only about here or whatever at this time. So it's going definitely a little bit faster. It made a decent improvement or whatever. So we're gonna see what it does there. I'm not checking the temperature right now either. I want to see what I can get at this speed in case it's the highest it goes. At this point, I'm going to start making sure that I get the highest score possible, because especially with this CPU, running it real time and having to rerun it again is not going to be the funnest thing in the world, just like the Pentium 4. So trying to get that baseline in or whatever there. So when it's done, I will run the stress test inside of CPU-Z and see that the temperature or whatever stays below the recommended temperature rating. So I think these chips are only rated at around like 64 degrees Celsius, so I'm trying to keep it around 70 or whatever at the most, unlike the other chips which can bear around 75 or whatever if I'm feeling risky or whatever. So yeah, it's just gonna run through here. I'm not gonna make you guys sit through this. I'll start up the video again if the system blue screens or whatever, and then we'll do it. I'll actually restart the video right before this thing finishes to show you guys how many Cinebench points it gets. So I will be right back again. Alright, so I wasn't able to catch it in time right before it finished, but it got 50 Cinebench points. It's already beating the Pentium 4 and itself, the Overclock. According to some people, this is actually running slower than it should be, so I don't know if the CPU is running hotter than it should be and it's affecting efficiency, or this chip in general just isn't really that great of an overclocker, or trying to think of the right word for that. Something along with the efficiency line or whatever, but we'll do some more overclocking, pump some more volts into this thing and see what we can pull off. Possibly hit 100 Cinebench points, but I think in order to do that, it's going to need quite a big overclock to be able to pull that off. So I don't think we'll be able to get that far, but let's see if we can get this thing up to 4 gigahertz again. I doubt that, but get the CPU a little bit higher and bench the other ones. Okay, so we're back in the BIOS. I put it back to 333 or whatever on the frontside bus. I put the DDR2. I'm going to leave it actually at 887 since we get the faster RAM for that. Go down here. CPU voltage we could leave the same, but I'm almost positive it's going to crash at that. So I'm going to try 1.75 volts or whatever. Not 1.7, 1.375. There we go, that's a little bit better. I don't want to kill the CPU quite yet. Most of the times with the RAM, I'll leave it at the highest clock that I can get this particular set up to, unless I'm using set frontside bus, which is a software that you can use within Windows to adjust the frontside bus speed. But when you adjust that, it adjusts the DRAM frequency, so I don't want that at that speed. If I'm using frontside bus, since it will go above 900 megahertz and it won't allow the system to function properly, and it usually results in a blue screen. So let's leave it at that and try and exit here if I can find the exit and save changes. Let's see if we can get this sucker to boot at I believe, what was it, 3.4 or 3.5 or something like that. And it doesn't want to boot. So let's up that voltage or whatever to 1. Sorry, it's dark right now. I could turn the flashlight on, but we'll do it right there. It's getting later in the day, so it's getting dark. Okay, booted up on its own. It's going to tell us that overclock failed. Sorry, it's blurry. It's going to keep adjusting in and out every time I try and focus it or whatever it goes in. Alright, so let's make sure it's not the RAM. I'm actually going to put it back down to 800. And then let's up that voltage to 1.4. 1.4. Alrighty. Let's give that a try there. If that doesn't work, and even if it does, this chip already really isn't that great of an overclocker. So there we go. That was a little bit more happy. 3.68, so it's about 3.7 gigahertz. So if we could get it to run at this would actually be really good overclock. not its particular voltage. Like in general, it's not a good chip, and it just blue screened right there. So um, it's getting to a point where it's not really a good chip at all. This is the newest of the four, so hopefully that plays a role in it being one of the newer chips. They're not as good, possibly. I don't know yet. So let's see. I believe this chip in particular was made in 2009. I could be misspoken. So let's try 1.425. Okay. Now I'm going to start worrying about temperature, seeing how this chip was running hotter than it usually should. 3.68. I'd be happy with that. Most of the time I would throw this chip in the bin, as they call it. Not actually like throwing it away, but reselling it or moving on to the next chip. But yep, I want to save this one for the video or whatever. See that this chip isn't all the greatest, so didn't get that lucky with this one. But if I could get it to do Cinebench or whatever at 3 point, let's actually bump that up because I want to put that 3.36. I don't believe I want to get it up to 3.7 at least if I'm running at 1.45. Okay, see if we can get that to go. But yeah, if I could get it to go at least 3.7 or whatever, that would be a nice overclock, I guess, for this video. And then what I'll do is I'll try and update the description of this video as I go along with the overclock. By the time this video is uploaded, I most likely will be done benching all the other chips, so I can let you guys know which one got up the best and what best score was I got on that. So far it looks like it's booting here. Most likely what will happen, or what most likely happened, or most of the time happens, is when I'm booted into Windows, it will boot into Windows and stuff like that, but you'll start running Cinebench and right there it just blue screens. So yeah, this chip isn't all that great. Let's do a little bit more voltage. It looks like we're gonna have to jump straight up to 1.5. I'm not really wanting to do that, but it looks like that's what we're gonna have to do with this particular chip. And I'm not too worried about temperatures now because this chip isn't all that great anyway. So let's try 47.5. Usually what I'll do is I'll go up by, I believe, I can't remember, 1/4 of a volt or whatever each time. So let's hope that worked. What I was saying before, though, is most likely it will boot into Windows like this case right now. I'll start running R15, and then that's when it will blue screen or give me an error within Cinebench that that will because of the CPU not getting enough voltage or whatever for the particular clock. So my guess is the CPU is going to want at least 1.5 volts or whatever at the speed that we're running it at 3.7. So yeah, not all that great of a chip or whatever compared to some of the other ones. So let's just hope that this is not the best chip out of the four. But it looks like it booted there. What I might also do too is do a validation test, try and get it up to 4 gigahertz and validate it with CPU Z at that speed. So again, let's try running Cinebench, see what happens. Actually, I want to open up CPU Z or CPU hardware monitor. Make sure our temperatures are at a reasonable temp. I believe the CPU is going to be running quite hot, so this is going to be more of a suicide run if anything else. Yeah, it's already running around 50, so before I actually run the Cinebench, I'm going to run the stress test or whatever in CPU ID and see what our temperatures are getting up to. So let's see, 66, 68, yeah, I'm not really liking it. It's better than I thought, actually. Okay. It's gonna run around 50. It's actually kind of hot in my room right now. Sorry, this is out of focus again. But on a cold day, it probably would be getting around 65-ish or whatever. 1.5 volts, I don't usually get around above 70 or whatever if the room is cold enough. So It's just a little bit hot in here, but the CPU is definitely within a reasonable temperature where I feel like I'm willing to bench it. So there's nothing, no tasks or whatever running. Windows Update and everything's disabled. So way to check that too is just by opening up Task Manager and checking the performance again. And if the CPU drops down to 0 like that, usually means you are good to go in terms of running Cinebench. Okay. Let's get it going here. Hopefully this works because I don't want to pump any more voltage into it. This voltage seems fine for this particular chip. Temperatures look good enough for it. So if I have to go up to 1.5, I will, but I really kind of don't want to. And it just crashed right there. There we go. So we're gonna have to do 1.5 volts for a geez, what percentage overclock is that? It's not that much. The stock's 2.2 on this thing, so not all that too exciting, but I'll be happy with 3.7 on this one. So let's just hope 1.5 volts is enough. I have a feeling it will, and then at the same time I think it's going to be picky and want 1.525 volts. So let's exit saving changes. This video is definitely going to be a long one. Hopefully you guys enjoy it at least. So there we go. Still wants to boot. I feel like I'm enjoying these Celeron chips a little bit more than I should be, seeing that their single cores only have 512K of L2 cache, and I think they only have like 32K of L1 cache, so they're like the lowest of the lowest bin chips or whatever. But I don't know, it's fun taking like the lowest end CPUs, and they're like the super, this is a 2009 model or whatever, so even at the time this was released, these were later production chips or whatever, even though newer platforms such as I believe 1156 and stuff was out, so they were still making these chips. So it's kind of fun taking the lowest of the worst sort of chips on the market, even at the time, taking them now or whatever, overclocking them, see how they can perform. So temperatures are probably, I'm not going to worry about checking them. I'm assuming this chip's probably going to get up to around 75C, which is not all that great, but it's good enough for this test, and I'm not all too worried about it. So I'm probably not going to be rerunning this chip anyways after I bench this. So if it degrades it at all, it's not the end of the world. So that didn't crash so far. If anything, it will probably run for a few seconds. I'll let it go. I don't want to make you guys sit through this also again, but let's see what it does. I'm just gonna let it go for right now, but usually when it gets to around here, if it fills up about 1/4 of the screen, you're usually fine. If it crashes any more than that, if it crashes, so it builds out like that, if it crashes around like out here, or if it crashes near the end, you usually just have to bump up the voltage about, like, if you were using the plus button or whatever. So like, if saying I'm at 1.5 volts or whatever right now, if it crashed about like here, like it was about to finish, I would just press the plus button. I believe that would bring me up to, I believe, 1.5065 volts or something like that. So it's not a huge jump in voltage, but it's just enough to allow it to finish the test or whatever. So anyways, just a side note there, but usually that's the case. And then if it freezes around here, that usually means it needs about 1/4 of a volt more or something like that. So it really depends on the chip and the way you want to overclock, but that's usually the way I do it. So it looks like it's doing fine right now. I don't want to jinx myself or anything yet, so I'm going to end the video, not make you guys sit through this whole entire bench, and I will get back to you assuming the test finish, and then if not, I will get back and we will be upping the voltage a little bit more. Alright, so I spoke too soon and it crashed about, I can't remember how far it was. It was far enough through where I don't think I'm going to have to put too much more voltage into it. But, so it's at 1.5 here. So let's try. So usually what I do is if it's almost finished, I just do that, 625 volts. But in this case, I'm going to try putting it up to that 1.51250. So yeah, not the greatest chip in the world, but not bad either. So We'll also, seeing that the RAM, or seeing this is going to be our final overclock, we'll put the RAM to 895, so hopefully that helps us get some better scores. Let's see if it boots here. If not, I know it's the RAM. Nope, it booted. So yeah, even just adjusting the RAM speeds a little bit like that can help you get just that 1 or 2 point added to your Cinebench score or whatever. So sometimes that makes all the difference, sometimes it doesn't, but as much as you can do to get the most points out of it, it's usually your best bet. And it crashed. So let's put the RAM back down. I don't know why I did that. Sorry about the focusing issue. It doesn't like the adjustments in color and or brightness and darkness right now. So let's put that back down to 843. See if that was a problem. Don't think it was. I'm pretty surprised it did that, but we'll see. Let's see, temperature doesn't seem to be, it's pretty cool in this area, so okay, it looks like it's trying to boot, so give you guys a better look or whatever at the bench. But yeah, this area is pretty cool in here. It's warmer than usual, but that's because we're pumping over 1.5 volts into it on this Hyper T4, so it's going to be a little bit warm, and my room's a little bit warm right now, so it's not the greatest in terms of overclocking environment, but it will do for this. If this was on a Core 2 quad or a chip that I extremely cared about, it would be a different story. So let's get R15 fired up again. Okay. So I'll do the run again. I'm pretty sure it's going to do the same as last time. I don't know if it's going to crash or not, but I'm pretty sure it's going to run for a while before it crashes if it does. So I'm going to end the video and I'll jump back in here and we'll see what happens. Literally right as I started filming, it literally just finished. If I could say literally more than 20 times in the video, I'll try not to. Okay, so 55 Cinebench points. So wow, these chips are not that great at all, but it was able to pass the Pentium 4 at 3.5. Yeah, it's not that great of a chip, but yeah, it's not bad either, I guess, compared to the Pentium 4. So get a better score in there on that. So Pentium 4, 3 gigahertz. I can't remember. I wish I would show the exact model numbers. I believe the top one was the 531. The ones below that were like 800. Jeez, I can't remember. I don't know why the scores are so drastically different. But yeah, 55 Cinebench points or whatever. Nothing exciting at all. Hopefully the other chips are better, but definitely improvement over the stock. I think what did we get for that? 450 got us 35 or whatever. So another thing we can do, let's run this OpenGL test or whatever right now. But yeah, it seems to be stable. What did we get? 3.7 gigahertz at 1.5125 volts. So let's see how long it takes for this to load. I'll also run Valley or whatever and show you guys that. But yeah, boring chips compared to everything else. So I'm definitely glad though I picked up some Celerons to mess around with, since I don't have any other Celeron 775 chips, so just something mainly to add to the collection of chips, since I have almost everything else except for the Pentium Extreme Editions and Core 2 Quad Extreme. So gonna add those to the list. I have a Xeon 775. I just want to get a hold of every version sort of kind of chip there is for the 775 platform, which would be nice. So it's also good to see how they all compare to each other. So yeah, this is doing better than I thought, actually, in terms of the OpenGL test. I'm assuming around 20-ish FPS, if not less. 22, yep. So, not too bad actually in terms of the OpenGL test. I'm running this on the 650 Ti, so let's save that. Actually, I'm not going to. Bummer. I'm just gonna hit save on that. So I'll have to rerun that test, which will be fun to be able to get a screenshot of it for the submissions and stuff like that. Not a huge deal, but let's run Valley right now. Got it on high settings or whatever. So most of the time I'm able to get around 40 FPS average or whatever on this card. So that's usually on the Core 2 Duo, Core 2 Quad, and the Pentium dual core. So let's see how well it does in terms of Valley. Valley is more GPU intensive than anything else, so let's see what the Celeron is able to do with it. Not all that bad. It's definitely being bottlenecked a little bit by the CPU. It should be getting about 10 FPS better if this was a dual core CPU or something like that, but yeah, it's definitely having some stuttering and stuff like that. Alright, so I think that's it for that. I'm not going to benchmark this. Nothing worth benchmarking there, but let's open up the CPU-Z validator or whatever. Get a validation of this CPU, and then I think we're going to call off the video. Again, not too exciting of a video because it was a Celeron chip that we were overclocking, but hopefully some of the other chips are a little bit better. So this is 65 nanometer chip, that's what I was wondering too. I didn't know if this was 45 or whatever. Core and RL. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the specs, and I believe 695. I hate it when it does that, when it's almost the 3.7 or whatever, but yeah, so this is on the P5QE board. RAM, I believe, was running at just over 800. Yeah, so let's actually do, this benchmark is not all that reliable, but from what I can tell, it's decent or whatever, so comparing it to all the other 775 CPUs, it's, I don't think it's going to do anything, so not fun. But let's cross that out. Let's do the Celeron 450. Submit this. Get a submission file or whatever. I'll get a view of the URL and stuff, and I might even put it in the description if I remember to, but feel free to type it in to Google. There's the URL for it right there. But yeah, there's our overclock right there. So, not the most exciting chip in the world, but it did decent for what we were doing with it. So, that's pretty much it, guys, for this video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, such as the Q9400, or even if you have a chip in particular you want to see me overclock or whatever, the Pentium D, Pentium 4, trying to remember things off the top of my head I own, but just if you name a chip or whatever in the description, I'll let you know if I have it and see if I can do a video on that. So again, guys, that's it for this video, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one.